Welcome to RACESTARS TV, folks, with the V8 Veterans round number 5 tonight. Split 1, thanks to Quantum Tin Solutions. We are live from the brand new Aussie circuit here on the iRacing network, and it is Winton Raceway. How cool is this? V8 Supercars about to get underway here tonight for our 544th broadcast. Welcome aboard. My name's Luke. I'll be taking you through tonight's action and, of course, some ride as well for the Split 2 race, which is being run right now as we speak. But get involved tonight in the chat. I'll take you down now to the drivers who are just finishing up their warm-up session, but I can tell you right now, qualifying results come up on your screen, and tonight, Greg Favell is, he increases his ability to stick it on top week in, week out, and I'll tell you what, he's already leading the points in the championship, and can anyone catch him at this stage? He's once again qualified by over a tenth of a second quicker than anyone out there, with Nitschke being very good there in P2 for Brenton. Stuart Hall in third, then it's Craig Friend, Mark Duggan, McKnight's back into sixth tonight, starting to find form again with Chad Viger, Jeff Thomas, Ty Burners, Scott McCune in top 10 in that qualifying order. We'll go through it shortly when we head down to the grid, take you through all the names right to the back tonight. We've got about 30 competitors, I think, for this Split 1 race tonight, so it should be good fun. Of course, Winton Raceway, it'll be a great way for these drivers, a lot of them, to test out their skills in a brand new track that not a lot of them would have done a lot of miles on in iRacing, that's for sure. Got some cool cameras set up for tonight to pick up the action from Winton. It is a tricky little circuit. It's basically, of course, the Benalla Auto Club. It's where it is home to. It's been around since the, I think in the early 50s, in fact, or the late 50s, the club was formed, but the racetrack itself opened up in the 60s. It's 12 corners in total, and a lot of left rights. It's going to be tricky tonight, especially around the trees, around the back side of the circuit. All right, without further ado, let's go through the grid for tonight's race. Starting on pole, as I confirmed before, it is Greg Favell with Nitschke out of P2. Stuart Hall will start tonight from the second row alongside Craig Friend. Then it's Mark Duggan and Jamie McKnight rounding out your top 6. Chad Viger, Jeff Thomas, Ty Byrne and Scott McCune, your top 10 tonight. Greg Sharp will start from 11th on the grid with Damien Cairns for company out of P12. 13th on the grid, Christian Smart with Paul Young alongside. Then it's Tim Nicol and Anthony Visney, your top 16. Darren Crosby out of 17th tonight with Chris Barrage and Matt Van der Kraan rounding out your 19. Steve Kennedy will start alongside him at the back of the 10th row of this field. Dean Favell out of 21st tonight with Todd Parks, Dan Hall from Evolution Racing Team and Andrew Ritchie, your top 24. 25th on the grid tonight is Brenton O'Brien for Evolution with Darren Goosey alongside. Race control at the back, of course, making sure everyone's doing the right thing in the Porsche, and Dave Coleman as well tonight driving the Porsche safety car if need be. Will we need a safety car tonight? Well, it is a circuit that may lend itself towards at least one safety car. So we just wait for the final competitors to grid up here at Winton for tonight's race. There's a shot of the pit lane, and there they all are parked on the grid ready to go. We're just waiting for the pole sitter, and then we can get underway. Wow, it's a look back, isn't it? There's Nitschke's car looking back, and everyone else just starting to get a bit nervous, I reckon, as it gets towards the end of the staging time. They get to about 2 minutes to stage up these cars, and the final driver's just doing so now. It's just the pole sitter we're waiting on. So Greg Favell, I'm sure he's just sitting back relaxing. He wouldn't be one that gets stressed in this situation. We're going to hear all these cars rev shortly and get underway. This is round number 5. Like I said, we've broadcast 4 rounds in total, including tonight. We did miss the one, unfortunately, when I was with COVID and still struggling from the after effects of COVID. Now, Greg Favell, to me, has missed the starting grid here. This is big, big news. And we get away, we get racing. Favell straight away will go back to the pits. And I'm not 100% sure what has gone wrong for him tonight, but they got away well at the front. Nitschke obviously elevated a position there with Stuart Hall, and Jamie McKnight straight away into the action up into P3, so he's got away beautifully and made up early places tonight for McKnight, so fantastic getaway for him. Also Paul Young made up a few spots early as well. Nitschke out in front leads from Hall and McKnight. Friend, Thomas, Viger and McCune with top 7, so a perfect getaway for the Frog Leap Juice Racing Team driver, who's had some great success already this season. 5 rounds in, and here we go already. Trying to pull out about a second of a lead. Jamie McKnight needs a good points finish tonight. He's been away this season, missed the first couple of races, and he's back now with a vengeance, and he needs to try and just secure himself a couple of wins, get himself back in the title hunt. Scott McCune, he's made up 3 spots on this opening lap as well. You can see him now dicing with Ty Byrne, who almost makes contact in behind. Byrne lights up those rear tyres of the M1 racing machine. And now through this tricky double right-hander, you can see how this track is very flat. There's not a lot of undulation, but it's the direction change will be tough on the tyres tonight, and that wheel spin, that's something they'll need to keep in check, because it'll be very easy to get those back tyres red hot. We're doing 200 kilometres tonight, so a nice short race as far as V8 Veterans racing generally goes, as Nitschke leads from Hall and McKnight. Still the order hasn't changed. 67 laps around this track with a 66.6 litre tank of fuel, with a fuel burn around 2.3 to 2.4 litres per lap, thanks to Rick Viger for these stats. So the tank range tonight about 28 laps, critical laps 11 and 37. So earliest you want to see anyone come into the pits, lap 37. And Greg Favell, by the way, has not made the grid at all. I thought he might have been starting from the pits, but he has not got away at all. So we'll try and get to the bottom of that, but that's heartbreaking for Favell tonight. He won't score any points, as we watch Scott McCune now on the back of Ty Byrne. So Byrne's got through. Viger's also up 1 spot. Jeff Thomas made up 3 spots at the start as well. So he continues to fire along for the JWME Motorsports team. Hasn't he done well this season as well? Dave Worrell says, good luck guys from Bathurst. That's right, Dave's out there racing. Got any updates? Can you send them through if you have? Some pictures from the mountain even that I can show up on the screen. That'd be pretty cool. Flick over to Discord and send me some photos from the mountain, and we'll get them up on the screen. 119.374. Look at that, match 2. Match to the 1,000th of a second there for the top 2. So Stuart Hall not letting Nitschke get away, and McKnight was about 2/10 off the leader's pace on that previous lap. I generally think he's probably sitting back just saving some fuel right now, getting himself set for what will come later on. Hypersonic Racing in the house over on YouTube says, hey Luke, Michael Stewart, big shout out to Scott. Doing well, Michael, and Scott McCune right now. P8 up 2 spots. We'll head across shortly and look at some driver cameras. We generally have a fair few to look at in the V8 fence. Of course, some drivers unable to compete tonight with Easter, and totally understandable when you've got family commitments and all that sort of thing. The traffic was pretty incredible on my way home last night, so obviously a lot of people pouring out of Sydney down by the Southern Highlands and down south on the motorway. So everyone stay safe out there. Remember to stop and survive if you're taking the family on a long trip in the car. So Nitschke out in front, crosses the line. There he goes with Hall, McKnight in behind, and Craig Friend, Jeff Thomas. The gap's starting to just pull out a little bit towards the front of the field. New fastest lap at 19.23 now. Nitschke out in front, so he's really stamping some authority on this race. Thanks to our Type N Events too over on YouTube. We're live there tonight. Of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to their YouTube channel and stay in touch for all the RACESTARS TV broadcasts over the next 90 days or so. Hopefully we'll be back on RACESTARS TV after that, but we've just got to sit it out. So big thanks to Type N Events, and who knows, we may indefinitely end up here with a partnership with them. We'll have to discuss that, of course, but we're here for V8 Vets tonight. V8 Supercars, all the drivers, like I said, over the age of 40. We've got 3 splits. So 3 splits of drivers, all running simultaneously right now. We broadcast split 2 tomorrow night off a replay, and John Van Reed, who does a great job from Wodonga Carts and Parts, he does the split 3 broadcast tomorrow night as well. Wheel spin there for Nitschke. So just looking back a little bit further now, let's try and have a crack at some driver cameras, see what we got on offer tonight. We've got a 3, I think, or two of them. So we'll head across first of all to Scott McCune, who's still sitting there in 8th place. jump on board with him for half a lap or so as he heads down. Oh, a bit of a brake lock up there for Chad Viger up the road. So great shot here of Scott's sim racing rig. Motion simulator, he's got the 4 screens. You can see the screen up above, I think has some telemetry or possibly even just the broadcast playing up the top there. And then of course he's got all the button boxes, stream decks, all the sequential shifts and roll bar adjustments that you would need to keep yourself very, very happy in a sim rig. So very, very cool to see. And we head across to the man who looks like it's gone. I was going to say that the Ply Plymouth has now dissolved away, and here he is, Jeff Thomas, who was running that plywood rig, and fantastic that he got the prize for the racecraft rig, which he's got all set up there now. So a bit of a different setup, but that's looking over the shoulder of Jeff Thomas, who continues to chase on after Craig Friend for 4th position. In fact, in the top 10, Craig Friend, the only driver that has held position. So he started 4th and remains in 4th place. Damien Cam still running back in 10th as well. Another driver to carry the driver cam is Damien, and he's up 2 spots in this race, chasing down Mark Duggan. We'll jump on board with him. So the sim racing face of concentration is what we're seeing right there again tonight. And Cairns on the way forward as we all get used to this Winton circuit in iRacing. It looks great from Microsoft Flight Sim, I've got to say that, the flyover at the start. Had a lot of fun buzzing this venue to get some camera shots. JRG_27 says, "G'day Luke, go Nitschke, great start, he has got away well, but Stuart Hall, as we're seeing right now, is really keeping him honest. Into the braking zone they go, so a couple of car lengths between them. McKnight just hanging in the background. There he is. Just watch the way they go through this final corner onto the pit straight. It's very easy to get sucked out towards the fence there. There's Craig Friend, Jeff Thomas keeping in touch with him. Then you look back further, Chad Viger, Byrne, McCune, Duggan, Cairns, all very close together as we look forward. But your race leaders at the moment, as they go through that dog leg, starting to really pull that margin out now. 5 seconds covering the top 6, in fact. Eddie with the 500 stars. Thanks, Eddie. I was just getting some pictures there, Eddie, while I was distracted looking at some photos here from Dave Worrell, who's just sent them through. So I'm just going to quickly load those up onto the screen here. And he's at Bathurst for the 6 hour this weekend, which is fantastic. So a couple of photos just coming through now. Setup day today for the boys, so you can see there they are in the picture. I'll put them up to a big screen for you. So obviously putting the last adjustments on the race car for this weekend on Mount Panorama. There they are in their pit garage. Andrew McMaster there and Dave Worrell up on the signage above the garage. So that's very good to see some of our V8 community and VFX community out there doing the real thing this weekend and having a race. So Greg Favell, by the way, just giving me a little update. The internet crashed just as I was about to go to the grid. A door has been ripped off its hinges, so that is absolute heartbreak for Greg Favell, and that is the reason why he has missed the start of his crucial race. Although coming into the round, I'll tell you now, these are the series points. Greg Favell leading at the moment by just on 20 points, so with Nitschke having a really good run tonight already, he may end up taking over the lead of the championship. We'll come back to those series points at the end of the night, but wow, that's going to have consequences, no doubt. Sometimes the internet just lets you down, doesn't it? So for Greg Favell tonight, it's been an absolute horror. Nitschke, he elevated up to the lead of the race instantly and has not looked back so far. The Frog Leap Juice Racing driver, P1 ahead of Stuart Hall, who is once again having a good run tonight. started third on the grid. McKnight made that early jump to the lead, so what we might do quickly is take a second to go back and have a look at the start of the race, and let's see how Jamie McKnight launched off the grid. So this is the onboard with McKnight, and we wait for the green light, and there it is. He hooked up very well. Now watching the run, in fact he only had one to beat, didn't he, because he started elevated up one position anyway, but it says he got up 3 spots. So yeah, he went around the outside. A couple of drivers there, but good getaway. Back to live though, live pictures. We're going to go back in the field a bit. Paul Young and Christian Smart. Paul Young's up 3 spots. Christian Smart now is really starting to just hound the back here of Young, and P12 probably wants to get inside the top 10 sooner than later. And he's got a bit of work to do. It's not the easiest place to overtake Winton. There's not a lot of spots to do it, so you can just see him just getting out of the air as well, or getting out of this screen here and there just to cool the car, and also get into the mirrors of Paul Young, let him know he's there and try and maybe force an error, which is probably, as we just see up ahead there, I can just see a couple of cars getting together. Chad Viger just dropped back out of the top 10, and there was definitely contact between himself and someone else there. Let's have a quick look at a replay of that as we pick him up. Tim Nichols just gone through as well. Maybe heading to the pits. It's an awkward little last corner there for those two. This is Chad Viger. Let's have a look. So we just have a look. He was already going slow there. Now the McCune might go down the inside. Is there contact between those two? Into the door. So a little bit of contact between McCune, and then he got cleaned up for good measure by Mark Duggan, who couldn't avoid the incident and takes a bit more paint with him. So has that done damage to Duggan's car too? It has. It's ripped the whole front assembly, the whole bonnet off that car. Sadly for Duggan. Let's go back to live. So off the track for Chad Viger. He's obviously got damage on that car, or he's just lost concentration, but that's now cost him dearly. He's in the fence. He'll probably have to get that back to the pit lane. Just picking up where Dan Hall is. He's moved up 5 positions, so he's working his way forward. Brenton O'Brien, the other Evolution Racing driver, has also moved up 3 spots now into 22nd as he chases down Andrew Ritchie and Stephen Kennedy. There's Ritchie. Kennedy just in front, locking a wheel as he went through the corner, and that opened the eyes of Andrew Ritchie, who may have a look down the inside. Under brakes, things better of it, stays in position. So your top 20 is at the moment Steve Kennedy, and then 21st Ritchie, O'Brien, then Viger, Lucy and Todd Parks. You're rounding out your 25 tonight. So far no safety car, which is good. We're at lap 11 already. The laps are going to fly through tonight. 200-kilometre race, so a little bit shorter than the normal distance we do have, and it's a bit of a short one, isn't it, going into the Easter weekend, that's for sure. And I do apologise for my voice, which sounds a little bit like I reckon I sound a bit like Kermit the Frog at the moment, but we're getting through, we're getting by. Big thanks Eddie for the stars, man, appreciate that, and everyone that's tuning in. RG27 says clean the first lap is a credit to all the drivers, and that's correct. And Rue Coister, by the way, watching from sunny Queensland. Good to hear the dulcet tones, Luke. Hopefully it's not too bad. I was thinking of putting some effects on my voice tonight, just to try and get rid of the COVID sounding voice, but we'll run with it. We could do the Mr. Summers voice. Maybe we'll save that for tomorrow night with Dave Baldock. Ishki still leads though, 0.5 of a second. Stu Hall will be taking advantage here of the slipstream, lap after lap, maybe saving enough fuel to attempt the undercut. We're well into the window now. 11 laps was, or the first 11 laps was obviously the big red X when you don't want to have to stop in this race, but now we're outside of that, lap 12. You can make this a 2-stop strategy from here on in, so we may see some drivers just attempt an undercut here. All would be in a good position to do so. Christian Smart, another driver, as we jump back to his car, in a position maybe to undercut Duggan and Young in front. on board with Christian Smart as he continues just to try and find a way past. Like I said, it is a tough racetrack to make a move, especially in the V8 Supercar. And if you can push someone or force an error, maybe a little bit of a bump and run, but don't get caught by the stewards. And I don't mean that as in taking someone out, but sometimes we saw it in the real V8 Supercars last time out, quite aggressive, just getting up alongside, leaning on the car a little bit and then just working your way through. Sometimes you just need to be a little bit more aggressive at a track like Winton. So Christian, who we're looking at now, you can see in P11, already 13 seconds off the lead as Duggan goes wide through the dog leg, comes back on, he'll lose that spot to Young. Smart should be able to go down the inside as well. Oh, contact, Smart and Duggan have made contact. And it was a half-hearted move there by Smart. And it's cost Duggan, he's gone around, and it may end up costing Smart as well. So we'll take a look at that shortly. I know Race Control are also going to have a look at that. But Mark Duggan already had some damage on the car. So you can see Paul Young, he went straight down the inside. Duggan had made the mistake across the dogleg, and then Smart sort of just put the nose in there. Duggan closed the door, and the rest is history. So we'll wait and see. In fact, we may go to a... let's have a look at a quick replay on that. So there it was. And we'll try and get you an overhead shot just to show Christian Smart. He sort of half made the move. And, well, here it is from above. You can see, just put the nose in there. And Duggan closed the door. And like I said, that gap diminished very, very quickly there, and Mark Duggan was the one to pay the price. So back to live. Duggan stayed out, so he hasn't pitted the car. He's going to push it right through to the end of the fuel range, obviously. Nitschke leads now. He's pushed the margin out to just on a second, so that's the most he's had all race now. And 3.3 back is Jamie McKnight at the moment on the podium. Running his own race, it would seem. He's about... in fact, on the last lap, he was about 500ths quicker than the race leader, and about a 10th quicker than Stuart Hall in P2. They're lapping in the 1:20 now, so they're about a second off ultimate pace. These drivers could be pushing out of these cars, so obviously the tyres have gone off a little bit, which has outweighed the relative weight reduction by the fuel being burnt off. So it sort of counteracts each other, and as the fuel burns off, the tyres also start to see the end of their life. Let's ride on board with Jamie McKnight for a lap here and enjoy the sights and sounds of V8 Supercars. It's Visor Camp, check it out. So great to be on board there with McKnight. You can see how technical this racetrack is. If I was to define it with one word, I would probably say patience is this track. Michael Whiting says, who's race control tonight? Race control tonight for the split one. Let me have a quick look, I'll tell you. So we do have 3 splits going at once here, so in split 1 tonight we've got Dave Coleman and James Chastity for our race control, so they're working in the background to deal out the penalties and all that sort of thing. Generally we don't get a lot on the screen from those boys, they're hard at work. Tomorrow night we will get more indications from race control when we see Ben Anthony jump onto the keyboard and type those out for us. But there's a lot going on in the background, and maybe some penalties are being handed out which we don't exactly know about just yet. It'll be interesting to see how they look at that one between Smart and Christian Smart, obviously, and Duggan. Because Duggan's ended up in 21st place, and Smart is still up there in 10th. Dave Coleman's birthday tonight, there you go, and he's in race control, so big shout out to Dave, big happy birthday. A cheer and a clap there from the RACESTARS crowd. So wish him happy birthday, and how nice of him to give up his night too, jump into race control for the old boys, over 40, drivers here in their 50s, 60s as well, 70s, it's such a great league, and generally very, very good racing. G'day Luke, g'day Vet, says Keith Logan. Hello mate. 33-week streak of 100 stars, thanks buddy. Doing well, happy Easter. Look forward to a couple of days off, hopefully for all those at work. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow off, got to work Easter Saturday. And then Sunday off as well before I start working Easter Monday, so a couple of days off for me, very much looking forward to it, that's for sure, and resting the voice as well. You can see the gap back to McKnight now, and then Craig Friend. I mentioned him at the start as starting 4th position, still running in 4th. He's running a really nice race here, lapping at a similar pace, if not quicker, than the leaders. And right now, oh gee whiz, just as I said that, almost put the commentator's curse on him. Put a couple of wheels on the grass as he came out of the final corner and went for a big moment down the pit straight. So we want to keep that in check. Hagman Advanced Simulators car. Jeff Thomas would have loved to see the cloud of smoke off the dirt, that's for sure. So he's running in 5th now, Thomas, and he's actually 4.5, nearly 5 seconds back from the back of Friend. So that's gapping out quite large at this stage. Behind them you can see the battle still raging between McCune and Ty Byrne as we jump on board with Scott McCune for a little bit here, and just watch the way he works it through this section. I don't know if I'm allowed to call this on RACESTARS TV, but actually a lot of the drivers call this part of the track the boob, and I asked a mate of mine, I said, why do you call it that? And then I looked at the over. Well, I can't actually give you a shot of the over view of this racetrack, but yeah, maybe I can head across here and show you Winton Raceway. There it is. So anyway, that's what they call it. You guys can make up your own mind why. But what a great racetrack, and how cool is it that we can come here with the V8 vets now. We can come here in different series on iRacing and have our 4th Australian track. I look forward to the day when we do a full Australian series across all the Australian tracks. I'd love to see Simmons Plains, obviously. You know, Sandown's on the way, so Sandown will be the next track that's released on iRacing. And City Motorsport Park will be another one that I would just absolutely love to see. Performance racing car running 14th at this stage, up 1 position. Our biggest mover and shaker in the whole field now is Paul Young. He's 5 spots up into 9th, and the RA driver VPS on the side of that car is holding out Christian Smart. So Damien Cairns next up the road, then Scott McCune. They've been locked together since the get-go. Meanwhile, the race leader, this man, Nitschke, continues to just drop in the laps. Let's have a quick look at his lap chart, because I'm interested to see how consistent he is. He's see there a 120.1, a 120.0, a 122, a 120.0, and a 121. So ultra consistent at the front. And ultimately, if you can get a win tonight, as we're already approaching 1/3 distance in this race, if he can get himself a win tonight, he may just see himself elevated to the top of the championship, which on debut for this season, he'll be absolutely wrapped with that, that's for sure. Tim Nichols fighting here with Darren Crosby, the M1 racing drivers at the moment. Nichols keeping him honest. Crosby's now up 5 spots as well, into the top 12. He's lapping in the 1:20s. In fact, I'm quite impressed that the whole field has been able to manage a 1:20 or below. So the competition's super close in this series, as it is across all 3 splits. So we've got a question from Peter Morris saying, I missed the start. What happened to Favell? He had an internet failure just as the green light dropped. So we've got incidents between cars 16 and 77 on lap 9 will be investigated after the race. So that is the one between Chris. No, it's not between Chris Smart. 16 is who's car 16? That's Chad Viger. So the Chad Viger incident will be investigated after the race. Thanks, Michael, too, for saying the broadcast looks stellar. Great to have you watching, mate, and everyone over on YouTube as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the new Taipan Events YouTube channel. They were kind enough to host up RACESTARS TV until our channel gets released back to us, if all things go to plan. And incidents between car 864 and 999, that is Christian Smart, will be also investigated after the race. So those 2 incidents in particular will be left for after the race and will be dealt with in the manner according to the stewards once they investigate a little bit further. Really awkward second to last corner, that one. You could hear Scott McCune there, just had to check his throttle. Had to get right out of the throttle, in fact, just so the front end would turn. In the background there, Christian Smart was kicking up the dirt behind them. There's Crosby. He's coming through the final corner now. If I pause the camera there, let's have a look. We'll see, I think, Dean Favell come around here shortly. There goes Dean Favell in the green car. Someone in the pits in the background as well. Andrew Ritchie and Duggan going through. And you've got Brenton O'Brien who's heading past now. But just the way the cars attack that final corner, like I said, it pushes you out here towards this exit curb and very easy to get suckered into the fence as another car goes through there. So it's an interesting one, that's for sure. But it was just obvious there with the onboard how much they had to jump out of the throttle and just not timing right the exit from the second to last corner into the final corner. Here's Chad Viger and Dan Hall. Chad's lost a lot of positions tonight, sadly. He's down in 21st place, down 14 from where he started. And having a battle with Dan Hall, who didn't qualify probably where he would have liked tonight. He's down in 22nd position, up 1 from where he started. It's a beautiful livery. Obviously Logitech, major sponsor for Evolution Racing Team. And it just stands out, doesn't it? It's beautiful to watch. Teammate Brenton Hawkins up 7 spots now, and racing away here from Darren Goosey, who's gone with him in a sense. They're both up 7 positions. They've got Mark Duggan next up the road. Hey, by the way, iRacing still hasn't fixed up that glowing disc issue, has it? The rear disc glowing red hot, the front disc cool as a cucumber. There it is once again under brakes. Is there something I'm missing? Does it not do that in real life? Is it a different kind of compound for the front brake disc? Pretty sure they glow red just as much as the rears. Anyway, you tech heads out there can let me know. Whiting has a new fur baby, is that right? Fur baby? New puppy dog? Please do tell. We all love our puppy dogs. As we're up on 2 wheels there for Stewie Hall. Jeff Thomas still sits here in 5th place. With the demise of the quiet Plymouth, he's in the racecraft rig now and continues just to get better and better. His lap pace tonight is right up there. He's done a 19.8. It's about 6/10 off the quickest lap time we've seen tonight. But we know he races motorbikes in the real world and converts that skill, that need for speed, across to his sim racing. And it's on a great show week in, week out in that team. Ty Burns still holding on to 6th place, Scott McCune in tow. And inside the top 10 now, Christian Smart still can't get past Paul Young. So it's almost like a freight train out there tonight. Surely one of these drivers is going to go for the undercut. And Michael Whiting's got a Chihuahua. There you go, so he got himself a Chihuahua. They called it Princess. Beautiful. Nothing wrong with that at all, that's for sure. As we see Paul Young. I think the best thing about having COVID was just to hang with the dog. And he realised that he does have a master after all. When he realised I don't have to work 80 hours a week, I'd stay home for a week. But I think I'd probably pick working over having COVID, that's for sure, if anyone else is yet to have it. I think by the second day I was wishing I was at work. So, a couple of cars jumping into the lane there. Damien Cairns is one, Mark Duggan another. They're in for their fuel stop. Lap 25. And I really thought maybe Stewie Hall or one of those drivers, especially probably Christian Smart, might have jumped in to try and undercut, just come in a few laps earlier. But he hasn't. And as Rick Feiger told us pre-broadcast, it's the critical laps around 11 then 39 with a lap range of 28. So at lap 25 we're probably 3 laps off the maximum fuel burn at this stage. So there is still a chance that Christian may think, right, I'll jump in this lap, and then he'll have to lengthen out the next 2 stints. But we're just watching now. Will he fire it into the pits? Yes, he is. So here we go. Maybe he's listening to the broadcast. Christian Smart goes into the pits now, and he was a little bit ragged around the corner, and he's going to go in behind Jeff Thomas and Scott McCune. But this will be interesting to see where he comes out. Can he leapfrog Paul Young in this next couple of minutes of play? Paul Young, he would have seen that. He needs to push on, and he needs to make sure this is the most perfect in-lap. Nice comment there from Jackson Douglas. Says, shit, this game looks so realistic. It's like watching the actual V8 Supercars. Thanks, Jackson. It's great to have you watching, man. And what have we got here? Peter Morris says, can you guys sing happy birthday to Dave Coleman? All right, I'll chuck a challenge out to you. If you guys can all jump in Discord, and I'll put up the RACESTARS TV Discord link. In fact, maybe we just need some volunteers that aren't racing tonight in the vents. If you all go over to Discord and jump in the comm booth, I'll let you sing happy birthday as your race leader comes into the pits now. I know with how sick I am, I can't sing at all, so it's you won't be hearing me sing tonight. I think the only song I can probably pull off right now is that one that goes, people lock the doors and turn the lights down low. That one. I've got the voice for that at the moment. People lock the doors and somewhere down there. Hey, Stuart Hall leads the race. McKnight goes up into P2. Shane Evans with a nice comment there as well. And I'll just publish that up to graphics so you guys can see it, but it's good to see Shane's watching tonight. So Jamie and I, glad to see you made the grid after Tuesday's meltdown. We'll have to get more of that story, I reckon. So was there a meltdown, was there? But Shane, when are you coming back, mate? We miss a touch of Willy Bin's flavour in the V8 vets, that's for sure. So McKnight in P2, we're watching Young. elevated to 4th now, and importantly, his nemesis, or the guy he was racing against, Christian Smart, is back. How many seconds is he back? He's currently 46 seconds back. So let's see if he dives into the lane this time around. Must be getting very, very close to out of fuel at this stage. I'm keeping an eye too on the commentary booth to see if anyone wants to come in and sing happy birthday. So far we don't have anyone. If that green room gets populated, we might just get some singers. Righto, Paul Young's in the pits, and Michael Wayne says need to get them to lower the age of the vets to over 35s. I think it's one of the cool things, is you just got to wait, and it's sometimes turning 40 isn't the most exciting thing in the world, but when you've got the vets to look forward to, it can be. So into the pits now for Paul Young. This is an important one. Jamie McKnight leads the race. Let's pick up where Christian Smart is. He's just coming down through the back end of the circuit now. So this will now tell us how good his laps have been since the pit stop. And I can tell you, one of them was a shocker. It was a 1 minute 24. And coming out behind Scott McCune, right behind Scott McCune and Jeff Thomas, probably hasn't helped at all. So Young, where is he? He's just starting to roll down the pit lane now. I reckon Christian Smart might get through though, and he does. So Smart goes through. He leapfrogs. In fact, a fair few of those drivers have leapfrogged Paul Young, who took 28 seconds worth of fuel, about 3 seconds more than Christian Smart. So that's an interesting fact as well, that they'll have to put more fuel in later on. McKnight now stops in the pits too. Oh, Shane's been unwell, so man, that's no good to hear. Hopefully you're back with us next season then, and you get better, that's for sure. It's sorry to hear that, mate. I know you do a lot for the iRacing community through Willy Bins, and you have for many, many decades now, it feels like. So get well, and we'd love to see you back racing, man. You Christian Cairns in the house too, says go Damien Cairns. He's doing well tonight. He's as we see some pit stops, that puts Nitschke, who is leading the race, back into 6th now. And Brenton O'Brien, who seems to have a knack of saving a lot of fuel, is going to go right up into the lead of this race. So from the back of the grid to leading, Brenton O'Brien for Evolution Racing Team. What a fantastic job he's done tonight. Obviously that's it'll be short-lived, probably a lap or so. But the fact he's been able to push 29 laps worth of fuel out of this thing, that's an incredible job. He'll head around, we'll give him some air time here, a bit of glory. Car looks fantastic, doesn't it? Really pushing up on the curb there as well, so he's not shy in driving the wheels off this thing. His best lap time tonight, a mid 1 minute 20. And top drivers have been in the low 1 minute 19, so I expect him to come into the pits though. He'll lose that lead of the race, and Nitschke and Stuart Hall will go back up into 1st and 2nd, and Jamie McKnight will obviously regain 3rd place as soon as we lose this car off the front of the order. So if he can squeeze another lap of fuel out of this, I'll eat my hat, and he doesn't. He goes into the pits. Meanwhile, back in the pack, Christian Smart behind Scott McCune. This battle still raging. And we're going to head across once again to McCune camp. And he's having a look. So Christian Smart's having a look on Scott now, trying to get through. Oh, he almost left the nose in there. And we've already seen once tonight how that story ends. So he's got to be careful with those half-hearted moves. Quite often it can give you a one-way ticket to the stewards. Let's jump on board with Scott McCune. There's a look back from the exhaust pipes from the rear of the car, and a look forward gives us a shot of Jeff Thomas running in P7. Damien Cairns, by the way, in all that, has leapfrogged up into 5th now. So his strategy's working well tonight. He was in the pits, only took 24 seconds worth of fuel, and Greg Sharp, another driver who leaped forward, he took 20 seconds worth of fuel. So his strategy tonight is a short stop for the first one, then he'll have to pump a lot of fuel in for that 2nd pit stop tonight. Nice comment too there from Jackson, says I want to wish everyone a happy Easter, stay safe, and drink heaps. Do not drink and drive. Cheers, everyone. Thanks, buddy. Let's hope everyone does have a safe Easter. Take care of your friends, and like Jackson said, have a really good time, but don't drink and drive. Don't be a bloody idiot. So, she goes through. I want to take a sec to mention the hashtag in the blade for Balin, which will always be something we mention here and there throughout this V8 Vets and even other broadcasts, but we're reminded this week of the tragedy of young people carrying knives with the horror story at the Easter show. And when I saw that come on the news, I straight away thought of the Stewart family, and our heart goes out to you continuously. And young Balin, who lost his life in a similar circumstance, and we continue to just echo that hashtag bin the blade for Balin. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to quickly get the website up and paste it in the chat. So please go across and visit this on. It's called the website. There it is. So binthebladeforbalin.com.au, and please take the time to read the story. It's when you call something a story, it sometimes doesn't sound like it's real. This is real life. This is a tragedy in real life. So please read it and help lift the awareness to stop these young kids carrying blades. Please do that. Right, back to the action. As Blake Warboy says, McCune's set up and Dream's set up. Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? I'm very jealous. Greg Sharp for Coda Sim Sports. He's holding Damien Cairns out here and doing a really nice job of it. See Cairns just tucked in behind. There he is, the onboard Type M eSports driver, currently sitting in P5 with Craig Friend and Thomas behind. It'll be interesting to see at the second pit stop how far the offset puts these guys back behind Jeff Thomas and Scott McCune and even Christian Smart, because they're going to have to take a lot more fuel in that second stop, probably upwards of 6-7 seconds worth of fuel, depending on how this next stint goes and how much they can push or save. If we get a safety car, possibly, that also may trigger a bit of fuel saving and change the strategy a bit, but all in all, it's going to put them slightly on the back foot. And the critical lap, which was lap 39, wasn't it, from memory, so lap 39 Rick Weiger said was the critical lap for fueling to be able to get home to the end of the race. So we're heading towards that quite quickly, 7 laps off that stage of the race now. And once we get there, you might see some drivers that like to just check the boxes, come in, fuel up, and they can go right. It's all just a run to the flag now. Back in the order here, Dean Favell fights with Mark Duggan over 19th position. So there's the Nova Motorsports Ford Mustang of Mark Duggan back in the order after that spin earlier and trying to do some recovery tonight. He'll probably look down the inside of Dino into the braking zone for the final corner, and he gets through there nice and easily. So Mark Duggan up to 19th now. Dean Favell goes back to 20th place, and they continue to fight on. Brenton O'Brien, by the way, up 7 spots into 18th. So from the back of the grid to leading a lap of the race, came out from his pit stop in 18th place. So good progression forward tonight. It's always a little bit artificial when you do the extra couple of laps in fuel and all of a sudden you pop to the top of the order, but all in all, this has been a really, really consistent drive by Brenton tonight and sits inside the top 18. There's Van der Kraan back in 23rd for the Angry Birds Racing car tonight. Hasn't all gone his way, dropping 4 positions, but he's ahead of Darren Goosey and Todd Parks, I think, out of the race. So back to the top, let's have a look at your race leader. Gap 2.4 seconds as we hit the 45-minute mark of racing here. So a bit of news there from Michael as well. I'll put it up on the screen. So he says, "Hey Luke, for the shout. Well, thanks for the shout. We have formed the Balin Stewart Foundation charity. As of yesterday, a new website is being built as we speak. Check it out for further news, and Bin the Blade at Balin is the hashtag." So there you go. So when the new website's built, we'll get a copy of that URL and we'll send it out. I do apologise, I'm still coughing non-stop due to COVID and the after effects of COVID, so I'm making some weird noises here and there. I do apologise, folks, but the show must go on. It's been the toughest couple of weeks of doing this, that's for sure, but like I said, the show must go on. Craig Friend on the grass, he's in trouble. So was there contact there? Todd Parks was involved in something, but Todd Parks is well down the order. So let's have a quick look at this and see what happened to Craig in all that. So he's gone around and did he do it all by himself? So there he was. He might just get on the throttle here and loop it around. He does, so pirouettes the car. Or stops it just in time. So it was all by himself. What happened to Todd Parks then? Because that was a little bit earlier. This is the Parks incident. And he also was out by himself for Synergy Sim Racing. And into the pits. This may be into the pit lane incident, was it? It's an awkward little right-hand kink. And you can easily put a wheel out on the grass there, but looks all good to me. So that's iRacing just being a little bit tricky and making me look at something that doesn't really matter. So there you go. Gave him a bit of airtime. Let's get back to live and pick up the battle for 6th place. So Jeff Thomas still holding out. Scott McCune and Christian Smart. The top, well, these 3 cars, in fact, covered by less than a second right now. And Ty Byrne is also really just staying in focus with these guys. So he can see good points on offer tonight as well if he can just stay in the hunt. Shout outs to the Birdman, Asher Henley, Monty Hines, I think it is. These are subscribers on YouTube. Sarah Kay and Stephen Murray. Shout out to those new subscribers over on the YouTube channel. Thanks for Type Head Events. We should also thank, before we got a second, the sponsors in this series. Big thanks to Quantum Tin Solutions, being the major sponsor of the V8 Vets, and A21, who plaster the safety car with A21 coffee symbols. We haven't needed it tonight. Type Hand Events, of course, the YouTube and all the organisational skills going behind the scenes to make this possible, and SimSpec Engineering as well, so SimSpec Engineering for their sponsorship. It's great to have their support, so please click their links, give them a like and a follow on their Facebook pages, social medias, and thank them for getting behind this fantastic series. So as we're beyond the halfway point of the race now, it's interesting, isn't it? We're looking at some of the characteristics of the cars. Damien Cairns, for example, there just really leaning on the back tyres at this stage and overdriving those tyres as well. So he took 24 seconds worth of fuel cans. I'm going to quickly put up the strategy board for you to see. And Sharp really the only one that came in quite early. Now, by doing that, he came in on lap 19, took on a lesser amount of fuel than everyone else. In fact, it was between 4 and 8 seconds less than all his competitors, which got him a really nice, short, sharp, fast stop. No pun intended for Sharp. And then he got himself out ahead of these drivers who quite possibly are a little bit quicker here in race pace. You can see the way Sharp is just holding Damien Cairns at bay, and Damien Cairns has been trying everything to get through. In fact, their fastest lap time, it's about a tenth quicker for Damien Cairns than Greg Sharp, but because of the nature of this racetrack, you just can't get by him. And that's what I was saying earlier about track position. It's so important. So if you can get that track position, obviously it looks like you can just hold it, and even if the driver behind's a couple of tenths quicker, they just can't overtake. Jeff Thomas as well, holding McCune at bay. Christian Smart spent the whole race really tucked up underneath the rear wing of different drivers tonight. And hey, Dave Bordock is in the chat. That can only mean one of two things. He's not racing tonight, or he's crashed out of split 2. So Dave Bordock says, how's PRA number 1 gun Paul Young doing? Paul Young right now sitting in 10th place. There he is. So he's driving along well. And then Shervo Jones, which is Andrew Ritchie, he's also out there tonight. And, Ritchie at the moment is down in 20th. He's up 4 spots in the race for Bay 21 Emu Sim Racing Car. But more to the point, why is Dave Bordock in the chat and not in the race? Are you having a night off, Dave? There's the comment there up on the screen. Duggan fights here with Chris Barrage, and he gets through as well. So Barrage back to 18th. Duggan on the walking forward gets himself now back up into 17th. So Mark Duggan, who was up well inside the top 10 at the start of the race, now finds himself chipping back, making up for lost ground. Yushki leads, comes through to start another lap, and lap 39 of 67. The gap back now 2.4 seconds to Stuart Hall. Couldn't race, family stuff, says Dave Bordock, so fair enough, family first of course, and especially around this time of year, around the holidays. Hope all the family's well, Dave, and a shout out. I know you're a great dad. I'll put it that way. I remember some stuff early on we talked about years ago, and all the great things you do, mate. I know you're an absolutely fantastic sport. And in all seriousness, I know a lot of the time we take the mickey out of you talking about the pony crashes and all those sorts of stuff, but all in all, mate, everyone loves you. You can tell that just by the banter, but also we know you're a great dad and a great bloke. So good on you, Dave. Spending some time with the family, but jumping on for a chat tonight, which is good. Nitschke leads this one from Hall and McKnight. McKnight 8.5 seconds back. His championship points at the moment look like, well, they don't look very good at all. Missing the first 2 or 3 races in this season. And he's just having to come to terms with jumping back in the car and going quick. I know he's a very busy man. Probably can't put the hours in that he would like to each week to nail these tracks. He does a great job on the setups, and he's very generous with that spare time that he does have to get the setups happening. Ben Anthony's in the chat. He says, what happened to Gregory? Well, Gregory, I presume you're talking about Greg Favell. Greg Favell's internet died, and that is history. So his race tonight did not even get started as he went to join up for the grid. The internet cut out, and Greg Favell tonight did not start the race and will finish last. So as far as the championship points go, Nitschke will be handed the lead, and I shouldn't say handed the lead because he's been very, very solid since the get-go, and he's had himself a win. He's now really pushing, and out there tonight, 2.9 seconds clear of the field, and really with the gaps that are forming, he's almost 10 seconds clear of P3. So yeah, it's been great. I don't know a lot about his history of sim racing prior to V8 Vets, but he's entered the scene here with showing a lot of speed and dominance. So you can add probably, since last season, we can add probably a couple of names to that top 10 that are always in with a chance of winning a race. Craig Friend's off the track there, so he's just come back on with plenty of front end damage. Now that, to have damage there and to go off the track usually means someone else was involved. So let's have a quick look at that. And there you go, the M1 car. Was it Crosby possibly? Oh no, there was no contact. In fact, the damage was already there. But he just went a little bit wide and off onto the dirt. So that's Craig Friend's story. That little incident. Let's go back to life. So Greg Sharp still holds on to 4th place. Where this will hurt him, like I said earlier, is with the second pit stop. And we're inside that window now for these drivers to make their final stop. Surely, if you're Jeff Thomas here, or even Scott McCune and Christian Smart, you can trundle around here lap after lap losing time, and you can see Scott McCune there just getting on the throttle, and Christian Smart, he got a whiff of that. That was a mistake there from McCune. And straight away, Christian Smart, he capitalised. So that's just how good his racecraft is, Christian Smart. And you'll just see in the replay, just watch the wobble here from McCune in the bottom of his screen. So you can almost see the attitude. In fact, Jeff Thomas is in the pits, so he is listening to the broadcast tonight. I think stopping now for fuel's idea. So just watch this. You'll see McCune comes around in the corner. He lights up the back tyres there in the small screen, and then Christian Smart just jumps on him like almost said like a big kid on a donut. I don't think I'm allowed to say it anymore. I have to change that one. Like me on a donut. He jumps straight on it, and McCune drops back to 7th now. Christian Smart up to 6th. So Jeff Thomas in the pit lane. There he is, just taking his final stop now, and this will be an opportunity for him to try and leapfrog the likes of Smart, McCune, maybe even Damien Cairns and Greg Sharp. In fact, this could put him up as high as P4. Jeff Thomas, if he plays this right. It was a 15-second splash at the end, so on those fuel numbers I'm expecting Greg Sharp to probably come in and need more like 20 seconds worth of fuel, 5 or 6 seconds more, due to that early splash that he had, that shorter pit stop in the first stage of the race. Damien Cairns, he took 24 seconds in his first stop, so he'll be on par with Jeff Thomas, but the issue is he's still stuck behind Greg Sharp. And I've got a feeling Greg Sharp is probably, he's doing, I shouldn't say he's going slow, because he's not. He's quicker than McKnight on the previous lap. But he's probably around 2/10 a lap off where Damien Cairns would want to be. And Cairns is looking a little bit desperate now. He's got an overlap, Cairns has. Will he get through? Oh, what a great drive around the outside there by Sharp, but he made a little bit of contact. It was fair, I think, in Love and War, but they definitely made a little bit of contact, those two. Has that damaged Damien Cairns' car? And look at Scott McCune in the background, all over the back of Christian Smart, and Sharp's off the track. And he's back on again. Now Christian Smart's trying to go round the outside, and it's all happening, and they're getting desperate towards this final pit stop phase. And I can tell you why. It's because these guys know they're being held up by now, and Jeff Thomas has come back out into a bit of clear air. He's got a nice little clear buffer. There he is, Jeff Thomas. He's got Chris Barrage next up the road, so Jeff Thomas has got this beautiful bit of clear air in front of him. He can punch out some solid laps now, and he may just jump all 3 or 4 of those competitors who are fighting. And now into the pits, Greg Sharp goes in. That releases Christian Smart, McCune and Ty Byrne as well. But is it too late? I reckon Smart probably should have come in a lap early, McCune as well. They may pay the price here tonight. We'll see where Greg Sharp comes out as well in comparison to Jeff Thomas. That'll give us an indication. So he goes up on the jacks for his final stop. Jeff Thomas just coming down towards the second to last corner now. And if he can leap ahead by a pretty decent margin, which I think he will, I reckon the job might be done here for Jeff Thomas to put himself up into P4. He enters the pit straight now. Where's Greg Sharp? He's still in the lane, still up on the blocks. Look at that. Jeff Thomas goes through at a great rate of knots and moves up into 15th place. But ultimately, you're probably going to see him up into P4 once this is all said and done. Greg Sharp's time, by the way, 22 seconds. So it was exactly 7 seconds longer required in the pits than Jeff Thomas due to that earlier pit stop being so short. So the run to the flag now, lap 45 of 67. Nishiki still leads. He needs to stop again. In fact, at the top 14 still need to stop once more in this race. O'Brien's got himself into 13th now, so he continues to impress. His teammate as well, Dan Hall, up 12 spots as well. So both those drivers for Evolution Racing Team have made 12 spots in the race tonight, 11th and 13th they're running currently. Anthony Bismus, the driver we haven't spoken about tonight at all, but let's give him a little bit of airtime now and jump on board for half a lap. Visma filing his way around this track. 7 spots he's made up into 9th. Stuart Hall is in the pits. I saw an off-track mention there, but it's just into the pit lane for him. McKnight goes through up into P2 now, so McKnight needs to put the foot down. What sort of lap times is he doing? It was a 19.9 for the race leader, Nitschke, and McKnight's just done a 20.9, a second off the pace. So it just goes to show Brenton's outright speed is so quick tonight. Smart goes through on a 20.2 and a 20.2 as well for Scott McEwen, so these guys at match. Jeff Thomas, by the way, he has now caught the back of Barrage. He needs to clear Barrage ASAP because Jeff Thomas did a 19.7 last lap around. And like I said, if you can clear Barrage, he's having a look to the inside, doesn't get the job done. He's tiptoeing through now. And that 19.7 lap, I reckon, is going to swing around to probably a 22 here. Let's see what it is as he crosses the line. So we did a 19.77 last time around. This lap, a 1 minute 21.4, so he's lost a good second and a half. Stuck here behind Chris Barrage, but I think he's done enough hard work. When the pit stops do happen, I still think he's probably going to be elevated up into P3 or P4 in this race. Nitschke in the pits now from the race lead, so here we go. Pit stop time for him, and what about Jamie McKnight? He'll go around and he'll lead this race, so McKnight stays out. Smart will stay out as well through the final. No, Smart goes in, so Smart into pits. McEwen comes in behind him, and so does Tyburn. Chris Smart in the wall, so there you go. The first driver we've seen really get punished on that pit entry tonight. It's so easy to do. He carried too much speed and bang into the fence, and that has just headbutted his chance of a podium tonight, I think. And that'll be heartbreaking for him as McKnight goes into the lead of the race now, so you can just see the replay bottom of your screen. And ouch. So Smart, he dived in, just carried way too much speed. Did he touch the grass? Couldn't see, it was just out of picture. No, he just took too much speed, locked the inside tyres, and then into the fence. And that is not good at all for that man tonight, for his chances. Scott McEwen comes out of the pits. Where is he compared to Thomas? He's behind him, so there you go. Like I predicted, Jeff Thomas has been able to leapfrog Scott McEwen, and by 4 seconds, so that's a really good margin. Paul Young as well, about 4 seconds back up the road. So I'm having a quick look now, and Jeff Thomas may have elevated himself onto the podium. It depends where McKnight comes out and how far the deficit is, but McKnight continues on here. He's got good clear air in front of him, so it's 3.8 seconds up the road to Mark Duggan, so why not stay out? He's lapping in the low 1 minute 20s. Jeff Thomas last time around did a high 1 minute 20, so it could be close between those two when it gets to the end of this race, but we're now getting into the last 20 laps. McKnight leads Tim Nicol. Anthony Visma's been elevated up into third now, and Nitschke, who effectively leads the race, has stopped twice for fuel. He'll bring it home. He's currently sitting just behind Visma in fourth. So looking at it at this stage, it's Nitschke, Hall, and then probably McKnight will slot back into third, and Jeff Thomas will be elevated up into fourth. That's how I'm reading it. Prior to obviously the McKnight pit stop. Stuart Hall's done a good job tonight. He was quite quick through the pits. In fact, he was 2 seconds quicker in fueling and through the transit time than Nitschke, so he took a little bit of time out of him. That margin back now to 2 point. In fact, it's just almost under 2 seconds between the effective race leader of the race and the effective P2 in this race, Nitschke and Hall. O'Brien sits in the middle of those two in 6th place, in front of Jeff Thomas, in fact, but is yet to stop again. Here's your pit strategy up on the screen now to show you that. So the little dash of yellow means they're onto their third stint, or third stint. They've had 2 changes of tyres and 2 lots of fuel pumped in. So Nitschke, Hall, Thomas, Cairns, Young, McEwen, Byrne, Sharp, they're all good to the end now. We're just waiting on Nicol and Visma, and also your race leader McKnight to come in for their stop. So we've got 2 of them in now, Nicol and Visma. O'Brien should also come into the pits. He's a little bit deep into the second to last corner, and he pushes around to do another lap. We know he did 29 laps out of his first tank of fuel, so I'm expecting quite a huge amount out of the second one too. But Jeff Thomas up into 5th, so he can sense himself. He'll get 4th once Brenton O'Brien comes in for his stop, but it's going to be a line ball between himself and McKnight. Now McKnight currently up the road 44 seconds and with clear air, so it's going to be, I think, pretty safe for Jamie to get in and out. He'll return to the field in 3rd place. So he goes for another lap. So 28 laps is roughly what you can get out of a tank of fuel here tonight, so should be able to push through for probably another 6 or so laps in this race. Jamie McKnight, if he goes to the full distance, he'll be hoping for a safety car. And if a safety car was to come out, say now for example, you might just be able to get in and get quite a quick stop in tonight. There's Nitschke crossing the line, 220 clicks into the braking zone, just kissing the curves. It's nice to watch the way he flows through that turn 1 and turn 2 chicane dogleg. He just rides that front tyre unloaded over the top of the curves. It's just beautiful to watch. My favourite liveries. I say that a bit because there's a lot of them in this series, but that looks spectacular, that car, the Frog League juiced racing car, kicking its front tyre up in the air there as it bucks off the curb. O'Brien's in the pits now for his final stop too. He's in 14th, 15th now as he's stationary. Dan Hall, his teammate, will go through as well. Dan has made the second stop, so he continues on into the distance, and Duggan as well made the 2 stops. He'll head off into the distance as O'Brien comes out of the pits in 17th behind Duggan. In fact, Dean Favell will just go through on the inside and he'll sneak up in another position too. So Dino up into 17th now, ahead of O'Brien and Ritchie as well. Up the front, McKnight, he's just ahead of that crew. In fact, he's put a lap on those drivers. And what's going to happen here? Nitschke just on the radio for a second there. I thought there might have been some traffic, but he's sitting pretty there. Into the 119th now, both himself and Hall almost matching themselves, about 9 or 8 milliseconds difference in that lap. And where's Jeff Thomas in all this? He's 17 seconds back. So I don't think he's going to be able to get himself ahead of McKnight. That gap's still 44 seconds between Jeff Thomas and Jamie McKnight, who leads the race. So McCune still trying to get past Paul Young, lap after lap. This has been the story of his night. This part of the racetrack especially, just the patience involved. You can hear the amount of idle throttle and just squeezing the loud pedal through all this section. Short shifting as well. It's just so technical. As I said earlier in the broadcast, it's one word to sum up this Winton racetrack: patience. You've got to be patient on the throttle. You've got to be patient on the overtakes. You've got to be patient all round, otherwise you can end up in the fence. And Scott McCune's having all of that tested tonight. Ty Byrne as well, tucked in behind him. Greg Sharp, who lost out in that second pit stop, there he is in the background. He's dropped back to 9th place, but all in all, that's still a good race. He's up 2 spots from where he started. Crosby's up 7 in 10th ahead of Tim Nicol. 10th and 11th on the screen right now. So, and then you fall back to Craig Fred, Christian Smart, dropped to 13th. Can you believe, with that mistake coming into the pits, hitting the fence? That's dropped him way down the order. Here's another look at it. We'll go to the large screen replay. So this was Christian Smart entering the pits. And here it was. So he just went into the lane. Then you can just see here he carries too much speed and locks it up, bang, into the fence. And he was a couple of seconds getting reversed, and off he goes. So it was unfortunate, but that pushed him from going for a podium tonight to all the way down here, 13th position. And he may not get any higher. He may get Craig Fred, who's just up the road, but that's probably what he'll have to settle for tonight. People's Champion, Synergy Sim Racing's Jamie McKnight leads this race on lap 53. Still needs to do one more pit stop though. So it's an artificial lead. He's got a 22-second margin over Hall. Now importantly, that gap to Thomas has come down a little bit now. It's 43.5 seconds. So this is where Jeff Thomas needs to just keep pushing, putting the pressure on. And he still could impact Jamie McKnight's race here for the podium. McKnight will be starting to feel the tyres pushing towards the end of their life. They're, what, 26 or 25 laps now into this stint. And yeah, he stopped at lap 28, so they're starting to be feeling a little bit worse for wear. In fact, you can tell by the way he hasn't dropped Dean Flavelle that much. You can see Dean Flavelle just in the background going through there now. And he hasn't really been able to stretch that lead out much at all since putting him a lap down. Nitschke as well has just been chipping away. He did a 19.7, so he was almost 7/10 quicker than Jamie McKnight on the previous lap. So at this stage of the race, he's still got a 3.6 second margin over Stewie Hall. It looks like it's pretty comfortable for a win for Nitschke tonight, unless something goes terribly wrong in the final stages of the race. We've still got 13 laps to go. So in V8 events, we all know that anything can still happen. It'll be the first time we've had an upset as well, or something go wrong with the driver, be it their internet drops out or something crazy like that. Let's hope it doesn't happen, because he's driven so well, he deserves this tonight. Nickel and Crosby are on board with now for M1 Racing. Still holds out this margin of 3/10 to Tim Nickel, who's had to be patient tonight as well. Tim trying to find a way through. It's next to impossible around this Winton circuit, and it's one of the tracks I didn't expect it to be so hard for these V8 Supercars to overtake. And we do see in the real world a lot of rubbing of panels around this track. One advantage it does have, it is quite a flat circuit, so you can make a little bit of contact, unload the car, and quite often both drivers will continue on, but it is so hard to pass. This mid part of the circuit now, where they're just constantly basically double right-handers, 180-degree corners. We're just trying to get the car to turn, look after the rear tyres whilst babying the front tyres as well. So hard to get right. Mark Duggan's up into 16th now, just behind Dan Hall as well, and Anthony Visma 14th for him for Type N eSports with the nice coloured wheels. We get closer now to the final 10 laps of the race. So apart from Jamie McKnight, who still stays out on the racetrack, here's the pit strategy. You can see everyone else has now made their 2 stops. Jamie ran long in that first stint, 28 laps out of the tank of fuel. He's now 25 laps into his second stint. Make that 26 laps, so here he goes into the pits. So important stop now for McKnight. He'll lose the lead of the race in this, but he's ticked one box there. He's actually got into the pits without hitting the wall. He's just got to try and stop this right on his marks and get this right. No reversing in the pits. And make this the most perfect stop to try and get himself secured on the podium. Pick up where Jeff Thomas is as well. There he is. He's coming down to the rear of the circuit now, so I think McKnight's going to be okay here. McKnight drops off the jacks, off he goes. So he's going to easily beat Jeff Thomas out of the pits. We'll see what the gap is. Thomas just coming down onto the pit straight away now. McKnight just leaving and going through the dogleg at turn 1 and 2, and the gap around 9 seconds. In fact, it's come down to around 8.5, so it was a good effort by Thomas. He ultimately leapfrogged about 2 or 3 other competitors, but he couldn't do enough to get ahead of Jamie McKnight and all that. And you've got to think, I wonder, those couple of laps where he was stuck behind, I think it was Crosby, wasn't it? How much has that impacted his ability to maybe get a podium tonight? So Brendan Nitschke leads the race by 4.3 seconds. 10 to go. Stewie Hall sits in second. McKnight now third. Fourth is Jeff Thomas. Then Damien Cairns sitting in fifth place. 22 seconds off the lead. Paul Young from PRA still edging out Scott McCune, who can't get by him at the moment. Ty Byrne behind them, and Greg Sharp rounds out your top 10 with Mr. Crosby, who has been able to keep Tim Nicol at bay lap after lap as well. So good job, your top 10. All of the drivers in the top 10 have made up gains tonight. Tim Nicol, in fact, in 11th has made up 4 spots as well. And then we go back to Craig Friend. Christian Smart started 13th. And some say 13's an unlucky number, but he started 13th tonight and he still runs 13th. So there you go. Behind him, Visma and Hall, then Duggan, Flavel, O'Brien in 18th, and Andrew Ritchie rounds out your top 20, Chris Barrage. So it's been a tricky race tonight of patience, but this man out in front, well, he's had a clear field of view as McKnight gets past Kennedy now, just putting a lap on him. He's got a bit of clear air up the road now to chase after Stuart Hall. It's an 8.5 second deficit from Hall back to McKnight, and he's got 11 laps to try and catch. In fact, 10.5 laps now to try and catch that up. If one man could do it, it's Jamie McKnight, but looking at the lap times, see what it is this time over the line. So it's a 20.1 for your race leader. Crossing the line now is a 20.2 for Stuart Hall, and McKnight, who kicks up the dust down in the final corner. What sort of time's he doing now? He crosses the line with a 19.4. So there you go, 0.8 of a second. He's just taken out a P2. Now, if he can continue that now to the end of this race, and he's got 10 laps to do it, he may stand on the second step of the podium. So, as I said, if one guy out there can push for a miraculous finish, it is this man, Jamie McKnight. On board with Ty Byrne here. It's been a race of this sort of frustration, looking at the rear wing of the car in front, the HSR car, and he just cannot get past Scotty McCune. There's McCune driving one-handed, minding the gear stick. He must be listening as well. Puts both hands on the wheel as soon as I say that. Looking back from his car, from Scott McCune's car, and gap to Ty Byrne still about 0.4 of a second. There's the overhead shot, shows the distance between them, and Paul Young, who's next up the road, that's the margin. Jeff Thomas, who we're looking at now, he's just ahead of Damien Cairns here. Both these drivers with our driver cameras tonight in 4th and 5th. And Damien Cairns is really starting to pile the pressure on Jeff Thomas as well. So they ran a little bit of a different strategy, these two. Jeff Thomas came in on lap 41. Damien Cairns lap 45, so his tyres are going to be a little bit better than Jeff's towards the end of this race. You can see Jeff having to work the steering wheel through the corner there as we ride on board with him now. So he's having to just really hold on tight, uses the paddle shifting there, making some adjustments with the left hand, no doubt as well, but got a fair bit of work, I'd say, to do in the final stages of this race, especially with Damien Cairns coming on these fresher tyres. He made us mount a challenge towards the end. The view from Cairns on board. Oh wow, that was close. Just touching the grass there for a second. Lost a car length or two. Thomas takes an alternate line through there as well. You see him staying out really wide, then just cutting back in, whereas Damien Cairns really hugs the curb. On board here with Anthony Vismar as he fights for this 13th place off Christian Smart. Christian winning the wars tonight. Synergy Sim Racing driver. His teammates currently running third, and the margin between McKnight is down to 6 seconds now. So watching that 6.8 has come down by another couple of seconds. Is it enough though? There is P2 Stuart Hall. The lap time chart just goes to show McKnight took 8 tenths out of him on lap 57. He's been taking consistently 6 tenths and then 2 lots of 4 tenths. So it's not enough at that stage. It's down to 5.3 from the leader, then a further 6.9 back to McKnight. So I think if it stays how it is now, Stewie Hall's going to be safe at the end of the race. But Jamie's definitely come out using full throttle here for this final stint. So he's put a lot of fuel in and he's good to go to the end flat out. Trying to see how far Chris Barrage is at the moment off being lapped. So it's 9.2 seconds from him back to the race leader. So Nitschke at the moment has been able to lap everyone up to P21, and he's got the bit between his teeth to try and catch 20 as well, 20th place, and put them down a lap. So you can see there he is, just rounding through the mid part of the circuit now. This tricky section, turns 7, 8, 9, loops around the Marshall stations, then down the Shannon straightaway towards the left-hander at 10. It's a slightly downhill braking zone. Turn it in, pick the apex, roll through, grab the throttle, down the Falcon straight, and we get to the last couple of corners. Turn 11, the Advanced Petroleum corner. You tip it in through there, try not to get out on the dirt there. Seen a few drivers tonight do just that. And then down the pit straight away, flat out into the Motorsport News S's 1 and 2. The BP Ultimate straight with the original paddock to your right there. That's where the original paddock was back in the day. Honda corner, turn 3. Through Nissan corner now, turn 4, and then this big long swooping turn 5, which really punishes the right hand side of the car. It takes a lot of life out of those tyres. Then you switch back, roll over corner into Penrite corner. This turn 7 doubles back on itself, the boob they call it, turn 8, then turn 9 back on the right to take you back to the Shannon Straight. So there's a lap from an overview here point of view, and McKnight just thanking Chad Viger as he gets through, holding on to that third position. The gap 12 seconds now back to Jeff Thomas, so looking pretty comfortable for the top 3 at this stage of the race. McEwen defensive. So, oh, look how close it is. Ty Byrne gives him a little kiss on the rear bumper bar, and maybe a little bit of frustration just started to creep in here for Ty as well, because like I said, it's just been lap after lap. You cannot get through it. Scotty hasn't made many mistakes either. He's looking, thinking about sending it, and then he doesn't. So at what point does something snap with these drivers? How many more laps? Will they be patient as we count down to the end of this race? Lap 64 of 67. Damien Cairns, another driver in that same position. What does he do here? Does he settle for 5th? Or does he try for a big move which could ultimately cost him all the points if he makes it incorrect, or if he makes contact with Jeff Thomas? Does he hold station here? I think most of us, we're racers, we tend to think you'd probably go for a moment. Oh, who's had a moment here? Christian Smart and Anthony Visma have got together. Anthony's given that spot back by the looks of things, so Christian Smart goes through. But they've made some contact down the order too. Let's have a quick look at that. So as Visma out of shape into the side of Christian Smart, which wound him round, and Dan Hall went flying through, said thank you very much, you guys can do that, and I'll just continue on my merry way. So unlucky for Smart there. He's been a magnet for trouble tonight, hasn't he? Lap 65 of 67, we count them down now. 200-kilometre race tonight for round number 5. Jesse in the house says, let's go, Brenton. It's been such a good drive, and he's bringing it home right now. Started P2 on the grid. That, if you weren't here at the start, that was quickly elevated to P1 due to, sadly, a disconnection or Greg Favel's internet shutting down just prior to the grid. So Nishki was elevated up into the lead. And what's Mark Duggan doing out there? Some donuts. And then also Stuart Hall was elevated up into P2. McKnight elevated up a position. He made up 2 spots off the start, Jamie, and he has not looked back. At the moment he's settling in to bring it home for a fantastic 3rd place. But Brenton Nitschke will come around. He'll take the flag this time, the white flag. Sorry, it'll be the white flag next time around. So he's got 2 to go. Lap 66 now for Nitschke. He'll be thinking right now, okay, I've got enough fuel in the car. The tyres feel good. I'm feeling comfortable. I've got 5.5 seconds up the road to the next lap car. I'll probably meet him in a lap or so's time, but other than that, I can taste the champagne and it'll be a great, well-deserved victory. And like I said at the start too, this will elevate him to the top of the championship standings, which after 4 rounds he sits P2, I think it is at the moment. So the fact that Favel hasn't been able to race tonight and Nitschke has, and he's won it, he's taken full points, will really pay well towards his championship run. What a great drive by this man too, Damien Cairns and Jeff Thomas, 4th and 5th. They're going to miss out on a podium tonight, but next best thing to a podium is 4th and 5th. And Jeff Thomas has got the elbows out here for the final few laps of this race, trying everything to keep Damien at bay. Remember, there's series points on offer for all 3 splits this time around. It's not a whole shared affair like it was previously. They are racing against the same competitors each week. White flag drops, 1 to go. So Damien Cairns here running out of opportunities. Favel parks it on the right-hand side of the track, then he sees that he's got enough room. Mirage just went off the track. Now that makes me nervous because the race leader is just behind him. So let's jump on board. Final lap of the race here, Nitschke. And up the road, Chris Barrage, who just went across the grass. Oh, the race leader's wide. Race leader's off on the grass, folks. On the final lap of the race, some nerves, and he comes back on very, very gingerish as well. Where's Stuart Hall? There he is. The gap's come down from 7 seconds to 2.7. Is there another change to be had at the front of this race on the final lap? Brenton Nitschke getting a little bit of the last lap nerves by the looks of things. And has he settled himself down now? It's 2.8 seconds and he's only got 3 corners to go. So, wowee, how about a bit of a hiccup on the final lap? Brenton Nitschke, he's got to get this final couple of corners right now and then it's all good. He gets through the second to last, through the final corner, and that'll be a win tonight. And it's Brenton Nitschke with the checker flag to take out round number 5 of the V8 Vets ahead of Stuart Hall. What a great race he's had too. Then we look back to Jamie McKnight. He gets P3. Great points and back on the podium for Jamie. Jeff Thomas will edge out Damien Cairns through the final couple of corners they go. Cairns through that final corner now and onto the pit straight. And Jeff Thomas will edge him out, get 4th and 5th for Cairns. Then we look back to the run. Paul Young gets it ahead of McCune and Ty Byrne. Greg Sharp gets 9th, good drive. And Darren Crosby rounds out your top 10. Fantastic racing. That was a ripper. We'll talk through all the results shortly, and we'll also have a word with the drivers. But tonight, your race winner, Brenton Nitschke, gets it done in style from Winton. He takes the win in round 5. Race results coming up on the screen now. There it is. Nitschke confirmed from iRacing. 2.9 seconds was the win in the end over Stewie Hall and Jamie McKnight, your top 3. Fantastic racing. We're going to go across to the broadcast booth now and chat with our top 3 competitors. Once our race leader comes in, he's still, I think, just doing burnouts and enjoying himself out there. But as soon as he becomes available, we'll have a chat. And, well, Jeff Thomas, P4, just missing out on a podium. Damien Cairns as well. The biggest mover and shaker tonight, Dan Hall, up 10 spots, to take out 13th place. So congratulations to him, and Mark Duggan as well. Dropped 10 spots, so it hasn't been the greatest night for him tonight. And Brenton Nitschke, someone send him some mail. Here he is now, so he's finally come across. Brenton, congratulations on a race win tonight, man. That was such a good drive. And how about the last lap nerves as well, though, as you went off the track? We thought we were going to see a huge upset there.
Yeah, and I lost bonus points too, because it's the only incident I had for the race. So there was a back marker coming up to me, and I'm like, is he going to go left, right? Is he going to pull over? And then I missed my brake marker for the first time for the race, and off she went. I'm like, oh, lucky there's a bit of a gap there.
Well, other than that, man, it's been a great drive tonight. And with Greg, unfortunately, having internet disconnection issues, that should elevate you to the top of the championship. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's good. It's a bit disappointing that Greg had the dropout. I saw that as we took off from the lights. And I'm like, oh, where's Greg gone? He's not here. And yeah, I was a bit startled for the first couple of laps, and then took off. And yeah, it's great to be leading the championship, but probably not the best way or the way I wanted to do it. So, but yeah, it was a good win overall. Yeah,
and Stuart Hall, congratulations, P2, mate. You were right there all night. Ultimately, you just couldn't get past or catch Brenton tonight.
Yeah, no, it was a good race, and yeah, congrats to Brenton and Jamie for third, but yeah, no, just been flat out work for the last month or so, and I'm just, yeah, buggered, so I just haven't got the stamina to keep on that pace, so but good luck, good race, guys.
Yeah, well done, though.
Well done, Stuart.
Yep, P2, and then Jamie back on the podium tonight, mate. Welcome back.
The people are back. I'll tell you what, Luke, I've had a week of it. My bloody computer set itself on fire on Tuesday.
Oh, no.
And took it to the IT guys. They looked at me and said, what do you want us to do with this? I said, I want you to fix it today. And they go, mate, this thing's not getting fixed, mate. You need a new one. And I was, do you know how hard it is to get a fully built gaming computer, Luke? I mean, big shout out to M-Wave, mate. They had a Big Daddy in stock for me. They charged me right up the butthole for it because I wanted it right away.
Yep.
It's got this 3080 Ti and it's a 12700 car. I don't even know what it all means, but they reckon it's a piece dick. And the worst thing about it is it's good, but it's so foreign. All my little things, all my settings are out, but I'll tell you what, I'll take that. I was really happy the way I drove. I didn't try and overdrive and go with Stuart and Brenton when I seen them pulling away. They just were too quick for me. So I thought to myself, all right, I've got Craig. He was right on me for the first stint. I've got a good gap to fourth. Let's just bring it home and get some good points and get our rhythm back in with the new computer and our groove in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll see if we can take Brenton on and give him something interesting to do. So, to be honest, it was a pretty boring bloody race, to be honest. You know how I'd prefer to be stashing it out with the boys, but I nearly fell asleep, so yeah, I was glad it was over.
Were you aware of Jeff Thomas and his, he stopped a bit early there? Were you ever aware that, he was trying for an undercut?
Yeah, I was, mate. I finally got JR2 working about 10 minutes before the race, so I knew what he was doing, and I was watching his lap times, but I was keeping pretty good pace on the old tyres. Yep. I was like low 20s, so I thought he's not catching me that fast. And while I'm here, I just want to say, Stuart's had some bad luck in the last couple of seasons, so I'm stoked that he's pulled off, getting second, and his internet stuck in there and his gear stuck in. And it's great to have you in the championship, Brent. I hope you like the setups, man. I work hard on them, and mate, you're really quick, so it's giving me something interesting. When I get back into a bit of form, we can have a go. Hopefully you don't get quicker.
Yeah, setups are always awesome. Thanks, Jamie.
Pleasure, boys.
Yeah, you do a great job with them, mate.
Well, I was going to say, Jamie, too, there's another couple of competitors that just go into the mix now for people that can win races week in, week out. It's just, I could probably name 10, you could probably name 10 to 15 drivers now that are in with a chance to win this top split.
Easy, easy. I mean, you got Duggins. He's had a shocker, but he should have been up there. Christian Smart,
as well, yeah.
Greg Sharp's won races. Greg Vallel's more than capable of winning championships, let alone races. And there's just more named Paul Young, Jeff Thomas, Damien Cairns, Scott McKeon.
Yep.
There's all these people. And Brent O'Brien's even won races here, there's a field of it feels only second to me quality wise to Scops. Brenton races Scops, so he'd know what I'm talking about. But I think the racing's cleaner and better. But pace wise, that's the only thing that's overall quicker. Yeah. There's some talent in this championship, and mate, we nearly lost you a couple of weeks ago when I was in America. The boys were sending me Discord messages saying, mate, Luke's had his account hacked, what are we going to do? And I said, mate, Luke's an intelligent person, he'll work it out, don't worry.
Yeah, we're back.
And thanks for doing that, mate, because we were worried we were going to lose you.
No, we just lost YouTube for 90 days, maybe indefinitely. I've got no idea, to be honest with you. YouTube will not reply, so we just got to wait it out, and this guy's been an arsehole, but what can you do, Jamie?
Anything I can do to help, mate, you let me know.
Thanks, buddy. But we're here on Taipan Events, so if you haven't subscribed yet on YouTube, Taipan Events, please do so. Facebook and Twitch has not changed, so bloody good job to them. Let's go and do our thank yous as we do. Race winner tonight, Brenton Nitschke, who I'm saying his name perfectly, right, Brenton?
Of course. No, that's a very good job. I'd like to say a big thanks to Juiced Energy, the Pet Dog Company, FH Creative, All Ports, and Precision Sim Training.
Great drive tonight, mate. Congratulations to the top of the championship. And then Stuart Hall, who would you like to thank for P2?
Nova Motorsport, Track Racer. Not sure how. So I'd like to thank you, Luke, for all your hard work, and hope you're well after your episode with COVID.
Getting there.
And Ben and everybody else that runs everything. Thanks, guys.
Good on you, mate. And then finally tonight, Jamie McKnight for Synergy Sim Racing. P3, who would you like to thank, Jamie?
Well, here I am without my list of sponsors that I normally have on my computer because I lost everything, even all my setups. But from memory, of course, Western Motor Group, Too Easy Finance, Positive Mechanical, Wave Runner Performance Centre, Aftershock, Newlon, great stuff, Newlon. And anybody I've forgotten, I apologise. JK Signs, all the boys at SSR for keeping the team together while I was away and doing a great job. And mate, just want to say thanks to Benny again and yourself, and all the guys who race against me. He's awesome.
Awesome, mate. Good to see you finding form and getting that new computer buzzing. We'll see you next week, and we'll see you right up there again.
You will. Don't worry about that, mate. I'll get some practice in next week. It'll be good.
Awesome, boys. Thanks so much for coming for a chat tonight. Cheers.
See you, Patrick.
Thanks, guys. Your top three there, Brenton, Nitschke, Stewie Hall, and Jamie McKnight coming in for a chat. Thanks to those guys, and thanks for everyone for viewing tonight's racing. It's been a lot of fun as always here for the V8 veterans, but Brenton Nitschke just too strong in the end. How good was he? And well, like I said, the misfortune tonight of Greg Favell means that he will go straight to the top of the championship, and he's got to try for round 6 next week to do it all again. Until then, I'm Luke. This is RACESTARS TV. Thanks for being part of tonight. Big thanks to Eddie with the 500 stars, Keith Logan, and also Christine Cans with the stars tonight. Thanks for your support. But of course, all those that viewed, put in some comments, and became part of the family here at RACESTARS TV and Taipan Events. Thank you. Until next time, until tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Good Friday for the Split 2 race. I'm Luke. This is RACESTARS TV. Good night.